What if I told you you've been taught backwards your whole life? From the very beginning, most of us were raised to believe that anything truly worthwhile must come through sweat, sacrifice, and relentless struggle. It's a story passed down from generation to generation, etched so deeply into our subconscious that we rarely ever question it. And so, when we step onto the path of manifestation, the journey of creating a life aligned with our deepest desires, we unknowingly drag that same old conditioning along with us. We hustle, we grind, we strive, we do all the right spiritual practices with the same exhausting energy we once used to chase worldly success. Some of you might know this cycle all too well. You pray desperately, whispering words into the night, like lifelines, hoping someone out there hears you. You sit for hours visualizing, trying to force your dreams into shape. You repeat affirmations until your voice is hoarse, as if sheer repetition could bend reality to your will. And you constantly check for signs, a message, a coincidence, a flicker of proof that what you're asking for is finally on its way. But pause for a moment and ask yourself if the universe truly operates on the elegant principles of quantum physics. If everything around us is woven together by harmony and flow, why would it require so much exhausting effort? Why would you have to beg, fight, or plead for something that, at a deeper level, is already yours? The truth, and it's a truth so simple that the thinking mind almost refuses to accept it, is that manifestation is not complicated. It never was. It's as natural as breathing. In fact, it's so effortless that your ego can't stand it. Because if it's this simple, then all the striving, all the techniques, all the endless doing suddenly feel unnecessary. And for many of us, that's terrifying. Imagine this for a moment. Connecting to your desired reality is like connecting to Wi-Fi. The signal is already there, flowing around you all the time. You don't need to build the network from scratch. You don't need to beg the signal to reach you. You don't even need to type the password 100 times just to prove you deserve it. All you have to do is align the settings, enter the correct frequency, and in an instant, you're connected. This is how the quantum field works. Every possible version of your life is already streaming, right here, right now. You're not creating reality from nothing. You're tuning into what already exists. The only thing standing in your way is the static, the noise, the doubt. But here's where most people get stuck. Because we've been programmed to believe that results only come from struggle, we keep trying harder. We pile on rituals, technique, affirmations, endless visualizations, as if more effort will make the signal stronger. In reality, the more frantic you become, the fuzzier the signal gets. And so, you keep searching for proof while missing the quiet moment of connection that was there all along. It's like standing in front of a beautiful song playing on the radio, but all you can hear is the static because you won't stop spinning the dial. I know this may challenge everything you've been taught, but what if the real breakthrough isn't about doing more, but about being more? What if the key isn't to construct your future piece by piece, but to step into the version of yourself who is already living it? This journey we're about to take together isn't about escaping life or floating off into some mystical fantasy. It's about remembering a deeper truth that the universe isn't ignoring you. It's responding to you. It doesn't measure how many hours you've prayed or how perfectly you've visualized. It listens only to the clarity of your vibration. And clarity is always simple. So as we explore these 9 essential principles, let your heart soften. Let your mind open just a little wider. By the time we're done, you won't be fighting to make things happen anymore. Instead, you'll be living inside the reality that has been waiting for you all along. You don't have to chase it. You don't have to force it. You only have to align with it and let it flow to you. The way rivers naturally find the sea without ever needing to push. 1. Stop chasing time. Step out of the stream. There comes a moment in life when you realize that time, as you've been taught to understand it, isn't quite real. It feels so concrete, the ticking of the clock, the pages of the calendar turning, the deadlines looming like storm clouds on the horizon. But in truth, time is a construct of the mind. It's a way for us to make sense of change, to track beginnings and endings. Yet, beyond the walls of our perception, the universe does not move in hours, minutes, or months. It flows in an eternal present moment. We don't see it this way because we've been conditioned to live by schedules and timelines. From childhood, we're told that there's a right time for everything to succeed, to love, to heal, to find ourselves. We grow up believing that if something hasn't happened by a certain date, it's proof that we've failed, or that life has somehow passed us by. And so, when we step into the realm of manifestation, we carry this same belief with us. We whisper to ourselves, I need this to happen by next month. I have to meet them before my birthday. If this doesn't show up by the end of the year, it means it wasn't meant for me. But here's what we rarely stop to consider. By setting rigid deadlines, we are not aligning with the infinite possibilities of the universe. We are trapping ourselves inside a very narrow box. It's like trying to catch the ocean in a jar. The moment you place limits on something vast and boundless, you cut yourself off from its true power. Quantum physics offers a completely different view of reality. It tells us that all possibilities already exist, simultaneously, like countless stars shining in the same night sky. The version of you who has already healed, who is already loved, who is already free, that version is not in some distant future. It is here, now, existing alongside the version of you who still feels stuck or uncertain. These realities don't need to be built piece by piece. They're already here. The only thing that determines which one you experience is the frequency you're tuned into. Just like a radio, you don't create the station by turning the dial. You simply align with the signal that's already playing. When you tie your desires to a specific timeline, you unknowingly create resistance. You're saying to the universe, I don't trust you unless you deliver on my schedule. That energy of mistrust sends out a fragmented signal. It tells the field, I am not ready. I am still waiting. And as long as you are waiting, you cannot receive. It's a bit like standing at the edge of a river, demanding that the water flow faster because you want to reach the other side sooner. But the river moves at its own pace. It knows exactly where it's going. The more you shout at it, the more you exhaust yourself, yet the current remains unchanged. The irony is, the moment you stop shouting and step into the water, it carries you effortlessly to where you were meant to go all along. I've seen this play out in my own life. And perhaps you have too. Maybe you've noticed how certain blessings only arrived after you gave up chasing them. There's a strange kind of magic in surrender. Not the kind of surrender where you give up entirely, but the kind where you release the need to control when and how things happen. And that's the heart of it. Manifestation isn't about forcing the universe into your calendar. It's about becoming so aligned inside yourself that the external world naturally adjusts to match you. The timing takes care of itself when your inner state is ready. Think of a seed planted in the soil. You don't stand over it, tapping your foot, demanding that it sprout by next Tuesday at noon. You simply nurture it, trusting that growth is happening beneath the surface, even when you can't see it. The seed doesn't grow on your schedule. It grows when the conditions are right. Your desires are the same. They are seeds planted in the quantum field. The moment you align your heart, your mind, and your energy, the conditions for growth are met. The moment you stop obsessing over when and focus instead on who you are becoming, the unfolding begins. The universe operates outside the limits of clocks and calendars. It doesn't care about deadlines, only readiness. When you are ready, truly ready, what you've been longing for flows into your life as naturally as a river finding the sea. So step out of the stream of time. Let go of the pressure to meet milestones or to match society's timelines. Instead, anchor yourself in the eternal. Now, this present moment where all versions of you already exist. Because when you stop chasing time, you discover something profound. There is nothing to wait for. The reality you seek isn't on the horizon. It's right here, right now, waiting for you to simply become it. 2. Simplicity is the wisdom of the universe. There is a quiet intelligence that runs through all of life, an intelligence so subtle and constant that most of us overlook it. You can see it in the way a river curves gracefully around rocks without resistance, or how sunlight spills into a dark room, filling every corner without needing permission. Nature never forces, never struggles, never doubts its own path. It simply flows, and yet, as human beings, we often forget this truth. We live as if the universe needs our constant interference, as if we must push and pull at reality to get what we want. We believe that if we don't fight for our dreams, they won't come to life. But have you noticed what happens when you hold on too tightly? The very thing you desire seems to slip further away, like sand falling through clenched fists. Manifestation follows the same natural law as rivers and sunlight. Energy moves where there is least resistance. When your inner world is full of tension, fear, or control, you create blockages. It's like building dams across a river, disrupting its natural course. The flow is still there, always ready to move, but it has nowhere to go. I've lived through this myself. There was a time in my life when I was so determined to make things happen that I exhausted every part of my being. I would wake up every day with a checklist of spiritual practices, meditation, visualization, affirmations, doing them not out of love or alignment, but out of desperation. I thought if I just did enough, the universe would have to give me what I wanted. But instead of progress, all I felt was frustration. The more I pushed, the more tangled my energy became. Looking back, I realize now that I wasn't really practicing manifestation. I was practicing resistance disguised as effort. Then, one day, I stopped, not out of wisdom, but out of sheer exhaustion. I let myself rest. I allowed silence to take the place of noise. And in that stillness, something remarkable happened. Without all my striving, the things I'd been chasing began to move toward me gently, naturally, as if they'd been waiting for me to step out of the way all along. That was when I learned the profound truth of simplicity. Simplicity doesn't mean you sit back and do nothing. It doesn't mean you abandon action or ambition. It means you take actions that are inspired, clear, and aligned actions that feel like a natural extension of who you are. Rather than a battle against what is, consider the difference between rowing upstream and letting the current carry you. When you fight the river, every movement is heavy. Your muscles burn, your breath shortens, and progress feels painfully slow. But when you turn your boat around and let the current guide you, you still move, but with ease and grace. The effort feels almost effortless because you are no longer working against life. You are moving with it. The universe has always been guiding you toward that same current. When you quiet the noise of your mind and release the need to control every outcome, you can finally feel it. Sometimes it comes as a gentle intuition, a soft knowing that says, "This way." Other times it shows up as synchronicity, a phone call at just the right moment, a door opening when you thought you'd reached a dead end. But these signs are subtle, and they are easily drowned out when you are busy overthinking, overplanning, and overcomplicating. Simplicity is about trusting that life has an intelligence far greater than anything the mind can grasp. Think about it. The same intelligence that spins galaxies, that grows forests from tiny seeds, that turns sunlight into life itself. That intelligence is also guiding you. It doesn't need micromanagement. It needs your cooperation. and cooperation begins with trust. When you release the constant need to interfere, you create space for the universe to work through you, and for you. This is why some people seem to manifest effortlessly, while others struggle endlessly. It's not luck, it's alignment. The ego wants to complicate things because complexity makes it feel important. It likes to say, "Look at all the effort I'm making. Surely this must mean I deserve my dream." But the universe doesn't respond to effort. It responds to coherence. And coherence is always elegantly simple. So, the next time you feel yourself straining, pause, breathe. Ask yourself, am I rowing upstream right now, or am I letting life carry me? When you begin to choose the path of least resistance, you'll notice how quietly powerful simplicity really is. Opportunities arise without struggle. People and circumstances align without you having to force them. What you once thought required endless effort now unfolds with a kind of grace that feels almost miraculous. This is the wisdom of the universe. It doesn't fight. It doesn't rush. It doesn't cling. It flows. And when you learn to flow with it, when you stop complicating what was always meant to be simple, you'll find that manifestation becomes less like a battle and more like coming home. 3. Choose precision over control. There's a certain heaviness that comes from trying to control every detail of life. I know this because I've lived it. There was a time when I believed that if I didn't manage every step, everything would fall apart. I thought it was my job to decide exactly how my dreams would arrive, when they would come, and who would play a role in making them happen. I didn't realize it then. But beneath all that planning was a deep undercurrent of fear, a quiet belief whispering, if I don't control this, I'll lose it. When we manifest from that place, we send a fractured signal out into the universe. It's like trying to play a beautiful song on a piano while constantly hitting the wrong keys. The melody gets lost in the noise. In quantum physics, there's a principle that mirrors this perfectly. The more you try to measure and control a particle, the more you disturb its natural state. The same thing happens in your life. The tighter your grip, the more chaos you create. Control doesn't bring clarity. It actually clouds the signal. Think about how often we do this in our daily lives. You say you want love, but then you obsess over exactly who it should be, what they should look like, how you'll meet them. And when it must happen, you say you want abundance, but you micromanage every cent, every opportunity, trying to force wealth to appear in a very specific form. And when things don't unfold according to that rigid plan, doubt seeps in. You start to question yourself, question the process, even question whether the universe is listening at all. That doubt, that frustration, becomes its own frequency, and the universe simply mirrors it back. It's like trying to garden by constantly digging up the seeds to see if they've sprouted yet. The very act of overchecking interrupts the growth. The seed was already doing its work underground. But by meddling, you delay or even destroy the process. There's another way, a softer, wiser way. Instead of controlling, choose precision. Precision isn't about dictating the details. It's about holding a clear vision of the essence of what you desire, while releasing your grip on how it comes to be. Imagine walking into a dark room. If you know exactly where the light switch is, you don't need to control every piece of furniture. Every step you take, you simply move toward the light. That is precision. When you manifest with precision, you're saying to the universe, I trust you with the details. My role is to stay aligned with the bigger picture. It's like giving the universe a blueprint of your heart, rather than a step-by-step instruction manual. Here's the beautiful thing about this approach: when you let go of control, you create space for possibilities you never could have planned. I've seen this countless times in my own life and in the lives of others. One woman I know longed for a new career. She pictured herself in a specific role, at a specific company, with a specific salary. She sent out applications, made calls, and pushed with all her might. Nothing happened. She felt defeated. Finally, she stopped trying to control the outcome and instead focused on the feeling of meaningful work, the fulfillment, the joy, the sense of purpose. Within weeks, an unexpected opportunity appeared. One she never could have imagined. It didn't look anything like her original plan, but it was a perfect match for her deepest desire. That is the wisdom of precision. It allows the universe to paint with colors you didn't even know existed. Control, on the other hand, narrows your vision. It tells the universe, it must be this person, this way, this time, and in doing so, you close the door on countless other ways your dream could arrive. When you practice precision, you learn to hold the vision loosely, like holding a bird in your hands. Too tight, and you harm it. Too loose, and you drop it. But with the right balance, it stays with you naturally. In manifestation, that balance comes from clarity, paired with surrender. You see what you desire in your mind's eye as if it already exists, and then you let go of when, how, and who. The universe has an intelligence far greater than our limited human perspective. When you stop micromanaging, you allow that intelligence to orchestrate events in ways that are often far more beautiful than anything you could have imagined. So, the next time you feel yourself reaching for control, pause, take a deep breath. Remind yourself, my job is alignment, not orchestration, because when you trade control for precision, you step into a flow where life no longer needs to be forced. It begins to unfold like a river, following its natural course, effortless, graceful, and perfectly timed. 4. The story of inner energy. There's a quiet truth about manifestation that few people talk about, one that lives beneath all the techniques, rituals, and teachings. It's this: the universe doesn't respond to what you do, it responds to who you are being. I once knew a woman who longed for love. For 3 long years, she poured her heart into manifesting her dream relationship. She did everything she'd ever read about. Every morning, she meditated, visualizing her perfect partner's face. At night, she journaled page after page about the future she wanted to create. She built intricate vision boards covered with romantic images and inspiring words. On full moon nights, she lit candles and performed rituals, believing that with enough dedication, her dream would surely come true. And yet, nothing happened. Not a single relationship blossomed. Nah, meaningful connection appeared. It was as if all her efforts vanished into thin air. At first, she blamed herself. Maybe she wasn't visualizing correctly. Maybe she wasn't disciplined enough. So she tried harder. She repeated affirmations until her voice felt hollow, convinced that if she just said the right words often enough, love would come. But the more she tried, the lonelier she felt. One evening, as we sat together over tea, I asked her a simple question. When you do all these practices, what are you feeling inside? She paused, looked down, and whispered, I'm afraid that if I stop doing them, love will never find me. In that moment, the truth became clear. All of her actions, every meditation, every ritual, every vision board were being fueled by a single vibration. I am alone. You see, the universe doesn't hear the words you speak. It feels the energy beneath those words. She wasn't broadcasting love. She was broadcasting loneliness, lack, and fear. And so, the field simply mirrored that energy back to her. This is the silent trap so many of us fall into. We believe that if we just do more, work harder, or follow the perfect spiritual routine, we'll finally manifest what we want. But manifestation doesn't respond to effort, it responds to alignment. One day, something shifted inside her. It wasn't dramatic or loud, just a quiet, tired realization. She decided she couldn't keep living from a place of waiting. So instead of trying to get love, she began to become love. She started small. Each morning, instead of visualizing someone else holding her, she sat quietly and imagined holding herself, offering her own heart the warmth and tenderness she'd been seeking outside of herself. She spoke to herself with kindness. She filled her day with little acts of joy, buying fresh flowers just because they made her smile, cooking her favorite meal as if she were already sharing it with someone special, dancing in her living room like she used to when she was a child. She stopped saying, "When love comes, I'll be happy." Instead, she began to live as if love was already here. And then, 3 weeks later, he appeared, a man whose energy matched hers perfectly, not because of some cosmic coincidence or external magic, but because she had changed her inner frequency. It wasn't the world that transformed first. It was her. Here's the thing. Most of us miss manifestation is never about bringing something in from the outside. It's about aligning your inner state so fully that the external world has no choice but to reflect it. When she was radiating loneliness, every action she took only deepened that vibration. But when she began radiating love, joy, and wholeness, the universe had to meet her there. It's a simple law, but not an easy one, because it requires us to look inward and take full responsibility for our energy. As I reflect on her journey, I'm reminded of this. Love doesn't come to fill a void. Love comes when you no longer feel empty. This isn't just about relationships. It applies to anything you're trying to manifest: abundance, health, purpose. You cannot create from a place of lack and expect to receive wholeness. The frequency you live in is the frequency life will mirror back to you. So if you've been striving, hustling, trying to make it happen, take a breath, step back, ask yourself, what energy am I truly broadcasting right now? The answer may surprise you. But if you dare to change that inner vibration to live as though your dream has already arrived, you'll find that the world begins to shift in ways that feel almost miraculous. And just like that woman, you'll realize something profound. The magic was never out there. It was within you all along, quietly waiting for you to finally tune in. 5. Recognizing and releasing resistance. There's a reason why, despite all your effort, prayers, and practices, some things seem to take forever to manifest or never appear at all. It's not because the universe is ignoring you or punishing you. It's not because you're doing something wrong. Often, it's because of something much quieter, something almost invisible: resistance. Resistance isn't loud. It doesn't always show up as anger or fear that you can easily see. Most of the time, it hides beneath the surface of your mind and heart, whispering old stories you've carried for years. It shows up as a subtle contraction in your chest when you say, "I deserve abundance," while a small, wounded voice deep inside whispers back, "No, you don't." On the outside, you might be speaking words of affirmation, but on the inside, there's conflict, two opposing vibrations moving in different directions. And in the language of the universe, mixed signals create static, like trying to tune into your favorite song on the radio while another station plays at the same time. The result isn't clarity, it's noise. And noise makes it hard for the field around you to respond cleanly to your desire. I've lived this myself. For a long time, I told myself I was ready for love, success, and freedom. I wrote it down. I visualized it. I spoke it aloud. But beneath all that, a quieter part of me didn't believe it was possible. That part still carried the scars of old failures, the echoes of voices from my past saying I wasn't good enough, smart enough, or worthy enough. I didn't realize it then, but every time I reached for my dream, that wounded part of me was pulling in the opposite direction. It felt like trying to run forward, while someone held tightly to the back of my shirt. No matter how much effort I gave, I could never fully move. This is what resistance does. It slows the flow. It doesn't stop the universe from giving to you. Nothing can truly stop that, but it can make the process feel heavy, delayed, and exhausting. And here's the paradox. The more you fight against resistance, the stronger it becomes. You can't bully your inner fears into silence. You can't bury old wounds beneath layers of affirmations and expect them to disappear. What you resist persists. So how do you release resistance? The answer is gentler than you might expect. You meet it with love. When you notice resistance, maybe it's a knot in your stomach, a voice of doubt in your mind, or a wave of fear rising unexpectedly. Don't try to push it away. Pause it. Breathe. Listen. Instead of asking, "How do I get rid of this?" try asking, "What is this part of me trying to tell me?" Because resistance is never the enemy. It's usually a younger part of you, a part that learned to protect you through fear and control. It carries the pain of old experiences and simply wants to be acknowledged, to be held. Imagine a child standing in the corner, crying. You wouldn't yell at them to stop crying. You wouldn't pretend they weren't there. You'd kneel down, open your arms, and say, "I see you. It's okay. You're safe now." That's how you treat your resistance. You meet it with compassion. You remind it that it no longer has to fight to keep you safe. When you do this, something extraordinary happens. The tension begins to melt. The inner conflict softens. The two opposing energies, one pulling forward, one pulling back, begin to align. And when your inner world comes into harmony, your signal to the universe grows clear and strong. It's no longer fragmented or confused. It's coherent, like a single note ringing out in perfect clarity. This is when manifestation begins to accelerate, not because you suddenly worked harder or said the perfect affirmation, but because you are no longer divided within yourself. I've watched this transformation in myself and in others. One friend of mine spent years struggling to manifest financial stability. Every time money came in, it seemed to vanish. She would say, "I am abundant." Yet, deep down, a part of her still believed she was doomed to scarcity. When she finally sat with that fear, not to fight it, but to listen, she realized it came from childhood memories of watching her parents lose everything. That younger version of her was still terrified of repeating the same pain. By honoring that part of herself, by offering it understanding and love, she was able to release its grip. Within months, her relationship with money shifted completely. This is the power of recognizing and releasing resistance. You don't need to chase away your fears. You need to welcome them home. Because the truth is, the universe has always been ready to meet you halfway. The moment you stop fighting with yourself, you step into a flow where what you desire can finally reach you, not through force, but through the gentle unfolding of alignment. When you meet your resistance with love, you stop being at war with yourself. And when there is no war inside, there is nothing left to block the abundance, love, and joy that have been waiting for you all along. 6. Trusting the first connection. There is a moment, subtle, fleeting, yet profoundly powerful, when your desire is first born. It might come as a quiet whisper in the heart, a sudden spark of clarity, or a vision so vivid it feels like a memory. In that instant, before doubt and overthinking creep in, something extraordinary happens. You send out a perfect signal to the universe. It's like striking a tuning fork. The vibration is clear, strong, and unmistakable. That first alignment is pure because it comes from the truest part of you, the part untouched by fear, skepticism, or the noise of the outside world. But here's what happens to most of us. The moment passes, and the mind begins to interfere. We start to question, to analyze, to measure. Did I do it right? Did the universe hear me? Maybe I need to repeat it again and again to make sure. So we pile on rituals and affirmations. We repeat our desire 100 times a day. believing that quantity will make it stronger. But in truth, this frantic repetition doesn't amplify the original signal. It distorts it. Imagine you're calling someone on the phone. The very first time you speak, they hear you clearly. But if you keep shouting the same words over and over, panic rising in your voice, what happens? The line becomes chaotic. The message gets lost in the static. This is exactly what happens when you doubt that initial connection. Your first, pure alignment is enough. It always has been. The universe doesn't need you to shout louder or work harder. It needs you to trust that it heard you the first time. The need to repeat and force often comes from a hidden fear. If I don't keep asking, maybe it won't happen. But that very energy of doubt sends out a completely different signal, one that says, I don't believe this is possible. And the universe, which always mirrors your vibration, responds not to your words, but to the feeling beneath them. So even if you're saying, I trust and believe, but deep down, you're radiating fear and mistrust, that deeper frequency is what comes back to you. I've lived this in my own journey. Years ago, I desperately wanted to create a new chapter in my life. I felt that first spark, that clear, beautiful vision of what could be. For a moment, I was completely aligned. It was as if the future version of me was already alive inside my body. But then, I began to doubt. I replayed that vision every day, trying to make it stick. I spoke affirmations like a mantra, afraid that if I skipped a day, everything would fall apart. Instead of feeling empowered, I felt exhausted. One day, in quiet reflection, I realized something. The very first moment I felt my desire, it was done. The signal was already sent. My job was never to keep screaming into the void, it was to stay in harmony with that original note. It's like tuning a radio. You don't keep shouting at the station to play your favorite song. You tune in once, and then you listen. If you constantly twist the dial back and forth, you'll lose the signal entirely. Manifestation works the same way. The moment you clearly feel your desire, when your heart, mind, and energy come into perfect alignment, you've tuned into that reality. The field has received the message. Your only role now is to hold that resonance. Holding resonance isn't about constant effort. It's about living as if the connection is already secure. When doubt creeps in, you gently return to trust. When fear arises, you acknowledge it, then choose faith again. Think of it like tending a flame. You don't smother it by piling on wood too quickly or blowing on it desperately. You simply protect it, feed it steadily, and let it grow in its own time. Trusting the first connection requires courage. It asks you to release the illusion of control and believe in something you can't yet see. But the irony is, this trust is what allows manifestation to move swiftly and gracefully. When you trust, you're saying to the universe, I know you heard me. I know it's already done. My only job is to stay aligned with that truth. And in that calm, steady alignment, everything begins to unfold. Opportunities arise without struggle. Synchronicities appear like stepping stones on your path. This isn't magic, it's coherence. When your inner world vibrates in unity, the outer world has no choice but to reflect it back. So the next time you feel that spark of desire, honor it. Don't drown it in endless rituals or frantic repetition. Trust that the first connection was enough, because it always is. The universe never forgets a clear signal, and it never loses sight of the frequency of your heart. All that's left is for you to keep resonating with it, moment by moment, until what you felt within becomes what you see without. 7. Coherence, the hidden secret of manifestation. There is a profound harmony that arises when all parts of you, your thoughts, your feelings, and your actions move together as one. It's a state we rarely experience fully. Yet when we do, something extraordinary happens. It's as if your entire being becomes a single, powerful note, resonating clearly in the vast symphony of the universe. Imagine a beam of light. Scattered light can illuminate a room, but it's soft and diffuse. It doesn't carry much power, but when that same light is focused into a laser, it becomes so precise and strong that it can cut through steel. Your energy works the same way. When your thoughts say one thing, your emotions feel another, and your actions move in yet another direction. Your energy becomes scattered. It's like trying to listen to 3 different songs playing at the same time, confusing, overwhelming, and impossible to follow. This is what most people experience day to day. You might think to yourself, I want abundance, but underneath that thought, you feel fear, anxiety, and doubt about whether you deserve it. Then your actions come from that doubt. Maybe you take a job you don't love, or cling to opportunities that don't align with you, just to feel safe. The result? A mixed, conflicting signal sent out into the field. In the language of the universe, mixed signals cannot manifest clearly. It's like trying to send a letter without an address. It never arrives. But when you achieve coherence, everything changes. Coherence happens when your inner world comes into alignment. Your thoughts, emotions, and actions all speak the same language, carrying the same vibration. In this state, you are no longer scattered or divided. You are whole, and the universe responds to wholeness with stunning speed and precision. This isn't just spiritual poetry or a metaphor. Modern science is beginning to confirm what mystics and sages have known for centuries. Studies from institutions like the HeartMath Institute show that when your brain and heart achieve coherence, meaning they are synchronized rather than in conflict, the body generates a powerful electromagnetic field. This field extends several feet beyond your physical form and directly interacts with the environment around you. Think about that for a moment. Your inner state doesn't just affect you, it literally radiates outward, influencing the world you experience. When people are in a state of coherence, remarkable things happen. Healing accelerates, intuition sharpens, and manifestations begin to appear. Sometimes, so quickly it feels like magic. But it's not magic, it's physics. When a coherent signal is sent into the quantum field, the field has no choice but to respond, in kind. It's the same principle that allows tuning forks to vibrate together. Strike one fork, and another tune to the same note will begin to hum automatically. In manifestation, you are the tuning fork. When you are incoherent, when your thoughts and feelings clash, the signal is weak. The field doesn't know what to mirror back to you. But when you are coherent, your vibration is pure and unmistakable. The universe hears it, feels it, and reflects it back without hesitation. I remember the first time I experienced true coherence. It wasn't during a perfect meditation or a carefully planned ritual. It was in a quiet moment, when my heart and mind finally stopped fighting. I was sitting alone, breathing deeply, when a wave of calm washed over me. My body relaxed, my thoughts grew still, and in that stillness, I felt completely clear about what I wanted and who I was becoming. In that moment, there was no doubt, no resistance, no pushing, just a steady, quiet knowing. And within days, things began to shift in my outer world. Opportunities arrived effortlessly. People I hadn't spoken to in years reached out at exactly the right time. It felt like the universe had been waiting for me to reach that state of clarity. And the moment I did, it responded. That's the power of coherence. So how do you move toward it? Not by trying to force yourself into alignment, but by gently bringing awareness to where you are out of sync. Notice when your thoughts are filled with doubt, but your actions pretend to be confident. Notice when your words speak of trust, but your body feels tense and guarded. These are signs that parts of you are pulling in different directions. When you see these patterns, don't judge them. Simply bring them into awareness and breathe. Little by little, choose actions, thoughts, and feelings that align with one another. It's like tuning an instrument. At first, it may sound off-key, but with patience and attention, the notes begin to harmonize. When you reach coherence, manifestation stops feeling like hard work. You're no longer trying to make things happen. You're simply radiating such a clear signal that life cannot help but respond. And in that state, you realize something profound. The universe was never withholding from you. It was always waiting for you to sing one song, purely and completely, so it could sing it back. 8. The power of presence. The past and the future are like shadows. They seem real, yet they exist only in the mind. The past is a collection of memories, some cherished, some painful, but all carried within you like echoes. The future is a projection, a story your mind weaves about what might come. Neither of them truly exists outside of thought. All your real power, every ounce of it lives here. In this very moment, in this breath, in the quiet space between one heartbeat and the next. We forget this so easily. Most of us spend our days swinging like a pendulum between yesterday and tomorrow. We replay old conversations, regrets, and mistakes. We leap forward into worry, planning and predicting what might happen next. And while our mind travels endlessly back and forth, our life, our actual life, is unfolding right here, unnoticed. This disconnection is more than just a mental habit. It's an energetic one. When you're lost in the past or the future, your energy scatters. It's like trying to pour water into a dozen cups at once. Nothing fills completely. Your manifestation power weakens because it isn't focused. But when you return to the present moment, something profound happens. The noise begins to fade. The endless chatter of thoughts grows quieter. Your breath slows, and your energy gathers into a single, steady current. It's like a still lake after a storm. When the wind stops, the water becomes so calm that it reflects the sky perfectly. In the same way, when your mind grows still, it reflects the vast intelligence of the universe without distortion. Presence is not a mystical concept. It's deeply practical. When you are fully here, now, you become aware of what's actually happening instead of being caught in what you think is happening. You notice the subtleties, a gentle nudge of intuition, the way your body feels, the subtle currents of energy around you. This is where manifestation truly begins. You see, the quantum field, the infinite web of possibilities, doesn't respond to your memories or your worries. It responds to your vibration in this exact moment. And that vibration is shaped not by what you've done in the past or what you fear about the future, but by the state of your awareness right now. When you are fully present, you align directly with the field. It's like stepping into a stream instead of standing on the bank, shouting directions at the water. From the inside, you flow with life itself. I remember a time in my life when I was trapped in thoughts of the past. I replayed old wounds, old mistakes, believing that if I just analyzed them enough, I could finally heal. But the more I replayed them, the more stuck I felt. The pain didn't lessen, it grew stronger. Then one day, in the midst of deep exhaustion, I sat quietly and simply breathed. For a brief moment, I stopped reaching backward and forward. I let the past fall away. I stopped trying to predict the future. And in that moment of pure presence, something opened. There was a deep stillness, a sense of spaciousness that felt more real than anything I had ever known. It wasn't dramatic or flashy, just a simple, quiet knowing. This moment is enough. I am enough. From that space, I began to feel connected, not just to myself, but to everything around me. It was as if a door had opened to a field of infinite possibilities, and I could sense that every outcome I had ever dreamed of was already here, waiting for me to align with it. This is why presence is so powerful. When you are fully here, you stop resisting what is. Your energy becomes clear, like that calm lake, and the universe can reflect back to you with precision. Presence doesn't mean you abandon your goals or ignore your dreams. It means you stop chasing them in a frantic way. Instead, you live each moment as if you are already connected to what you desire because in truth, you are. The irony is, the more present you become, the more easily the future unfolds. Opportunities appear without force. Relationships deepen naturally. Solutions arise seemingly out of nowhere. Presence is the hidden doorway to manifestation. It's not about doing more. It's about being more. Being so fully here that life itself can flow through you without interference. So take a moment now. Breathe deeply. Feel the air entering your lungs, to the weight of your body against the chair, the rhythm of your heartbeat. This moment, right here, is where all your power lives. Not in the memories you replay, not in the fears you project, but here now. And as you rest in that knowing, you'll find that what you've been seeking has been here all along, waiting patiently for you to finally come home. 9. You don't create the future. You align with it. There's a quiet truth that can change everything about how you see life. You are not here to create your future. You are here to align with it. At first, this may sound strange. We've been told for most of our lives that the future is something we must build from the ground up, brick by brick, through effort and willpower. We've been taught to believe that what we want doesn't exist until we work hard enough to bring it into being. But in the quantum field, reality doesn't work that way. Quantum physics shows us that every possible version of your life already exists right now, not tomorrow, not next year, but in this very moment. It's like a vast library filled with infinite books. Each book represents a different timeline, a different story you could live. Some are stories of love, some of abundance, some of healing, some of struggle. All of them are already written. Your role isn't to write the book. Your role is to choose which book you open by tuning your energy to the frequency of that story. Think of it like a radio. The station you want to hear is already broadcasting, even if you can't hear it yet. The music is there, flowing invisibly through the air around you. You don't need to build a new station or invent a song. You only need to tune your dial to match the frequency of what's already there. The same is true of your life. When you cling to the idea that you must create your dream future from nothing, you put yourself under immense pressure. You begin to believe that it's all on you every step, every decision, every detail. That weight breeds anxiety, fear, and a constant sense of not enough. But when you understand that your desired reality already exists, the entire game changes. Your task becomes simpler, softer. You don't need to push or force. You need to become a vibrational match for the reality you wish to live. This is why inner work matters so deeply. It's not about fixing yourself because you're broken. You were never broken. It's about clearing away the static, the doubts, the limiting beliefs, so you can resonate purely with the frequency of the life that's already waiting for you. When you stop chasing, you stop scattering your energy. When you stop controlling, you stop blocking the natural flow of life. And in that stillness, alignment happens naturally. I've witnessed this countless times in my own life and in the lives of others. There was a time when I desperately tried to force my path forward. I planned obsessively, strategized endlessly, thinking that if I didn't keep pushing, everything would fall apart. The harder I worked, the further away my dreams seemed to move. Eventually, exhaustion taught me what my mind refused to accept. Life flows best when I stop fighting it. The moment I released control and began to focus only on my inner state, my thoughts, my emotions, my vibration, things started to shift. Opportunities I could never have planned appeared effortlessly. People who felt like missing puzzle pieces entered my life at exactly the right time. It felt like a dance I had been rehearsing for years without knowing it. And suddenly, the music began to play. This wasn't magic. It was alignment. It was the natural unfolding of a reality I had finally tuned myself to. Imagine standing in front of a mirror. The reflection doesn't change because you demand it to. It changes when you change. When you smile, the reflection smiles back. When you frown, the reflection frowns back. The external world is like that mirror. It doesn't need you to build a new reflection. It simply responds to the signal you are broadcasting right now. So, if you want to experience love, embody love. If you want to experience abundance, embody abundance. If you want peace, become peace. When you align with the vibration of what you desire, the external world has no choice but to reorganize itself to match you. This is why manifestation can sometimes feel effortless once you understand it. You are no longer wrestling with life, trying to bend it to your will. You are flowing with it, like a river that knows exactly where it's going. And just like a river doesn't need to strain to reach the ocean, you don't need to strain to reach your future. The future is already here. It's already whole. It's already complete. The only thing missing is your alignment with it. When you truly grasp this, something inside you softens. The anxiety fades. The fear of what if dissolves. Because you finally see that you were never chasing something outside yourself. You were simply coming home to the reality that has been waiting for you all along. This is not a miracle. It is the most natural law of the universe. Life responds not to effort, but to resonance, not to chasing, but to becoming. So stop trying to create the future as if it's separate from you. Instead, tune into the version of yourself who is already living that reality. Live as though it's real, because in the quantum field, it already is. And when you do, you'll watch in awe as the world around you begins to rearrange, not because you built it from scratch, but because you finally aligned with what was always meant to be yours, coming home to what was always yours. Remember, this manifestation was never meant to be a battle. It isn't about pleading with the universe as if you are powerless. It isn't about rolling dice and hoping luck is on your side. Manifestation is, at its core, a process of coming into harmony with yourself, with the deepest, truest frequency that has always lived within you. It is not about forcing life to give you what you want. It is about aligning so deeply with what you are that life has no choice but to reflect it back to you. The universe doesn't hand out rewards for exhaustion or self-sacrifice. It doesn't measure how many hours you've prayed or how many affirmations you've repeated. It only responds to clarity and coherence. When you are scattered, uncertain, and filled with doubt, your signal is like static, difficult to read, impossible to follow. But when your thoughts, feelings, and actions come together in harmony, your energy becomes unmistakable. It's like a clear, steady note in a vast symphony. The universe hears that note and instantly begins to arrange everything around it to match you. Each conscious breath you take is a chance to tune yourself back to that frequency. Every time you inhale deeply, aware and present, you are adjusting your inner energy, clearing away the noise. Every time you choose love over fear, even in small, quiet moments, you strengthen your connection to the quantum field, where all possibilities already exist. And every time you let go of the need to control how life unfolds, you open the door for the universe to organize things in ways far more perfect than anything you could have planned. Think about how a river flows. It doesn't fight to reach the ocean. It doesn't make elaborate plans or push against the banks. It simply follows its natural course, knowing it will always arrive. Your life can flow the same way, but only when you stop trying to force the current and allow it to guide you instead. So pause for a moment. Notice how much energy you've spent trying to become something, trying to chase a dream that always seems just out of reach. What if you stopped trying to become and simply became, right now? In this very moment, you have the power to embody the version of yourself who already has what you desire. You don't need to wait for some future event to give you permission. You don't need to prove your worthiness to anyone, not even to yourself, because the reality you long for already exists. It has always existed. It is here, surrounding you, waiting patiently for you to tune yourself to it. When you finally release the struggle, when you stop fighting against life and instead harmonize with it, you will discover something profound. Manifestation isn't about reaching outward. It isn't about acquiring or chasing or convincing the universe to give you something. It is about returning home to the truth that you are already connected to everything you've ever sought. There is a deep peace in this realization. The frantic energy falls away. The fear dissolves. You stop asking, "When will it come?" and begin to live as though it's already here. And in that state of trust and alignment, life flows effortlessly. The people, opportunities, and experiences you've been longing for begin to appear not because you forced them into existence, but because you finally matched their frequency. So take this with you. Stop chasing. Stop waiting. Each moment is an invitation to align, to embody, to be. Breathe deeply. Choose love instead of fear. Release the tight grip of control. And in doing so, watch how the universe rearranges itself, not because you demanded it, but because you allowed it. Manifestation, in the end, is not about creating a future that doesn't yet exist. It's about remembering that everything you've ever desired is already here, quietly waiting for you to step into it. The moment you truly trust and harmonize with this truth, you will see clearly, manifestation was never about pursuit. It was always about return, a return to yourself, to your essence, and to the boundless reality that has been with you all along.